and we're going to talk about what you need to do if you need to reserve a court for somebody coming into the organization, calling the organization, because at this point, your admin, you guys have already gone in and you've set everything up. So now it should be pretty simple to go in and make a reservation. So in order to make the screen a little bit bigger, I'm going to go over to the custom scheduler that we created. If you don't know what a custom scheduler is, then please reach out to us later. Another thing before I get started, I want to make sure that we mention that we often forget is that this little guy right here, this little question mark, which would be beside your name, is a great way to learn things in the court reserve system. This actually leads you to our knowledge base. It's all of the articles. It's the articles that pop up when you come to chat support that we teach you how to use the system. So if you need to know how to set up a ball machine or how to reserve a court, you can actually come in here and search for the articles in here, and it will lead you to those things as well. Okay. So from a front desk standpoint, we're going to go in and we're going to reserve a court. So I just got a phone call. A member wants to reserve a court. So you simply come to the court that they want to reserve, or if this is tennis, you will say, okay, well, on Thursday, we have a court at 10 o'clock. So you simply hit the reserve button, which is this right here. And then you're going to put in the reservation type. Reservation types are, of course, already set up in your system. There's going to be a singles reservation. They want to play for 1 hour, and there's no reoccurrence. If you were going to set up a reoccurring reservation for a particular member, then you could do that daily, weekly, monthly, or custom. Let's go through this first, and then I'll show you what that looks like. So we're going to set up a reservation, and if your organization requires you to enter member names, which is a very smart thing to do, we're going to go ahead and put in Fred Flintstone. And we're also going to put in the second member for the reservation as well. Now, you'll see here selected members, Fred and Wilma Flintstone. Now, you see here number of guests. Number of guests is a turn on or turn off button in the court reserve system. So your organization may allow guests or not. So if they did, then it would actually show here you would need to input the first name, last name, and phone number. And then if your fee or if your organization charges a fee, you could actually assess that here. So we're going to go back and do no guest at this point. So it's already on hard court 2 because that's where the scheduler started off at. You don't need an instructor on a reservation such as this. And then if you want to put any notes on the system, you could dictate that here, and you need to check with your admins. Sometimes notes can be made to the public and sometimes they're just for admins. So depending again on how the system was set up, you may want to be careful about what you put in the notes section here. Now, a couple of things here. If you want to hide this reservation on the public scheduler, you can actually check this box here. And then, of course, a great way to remind them that they do have a reservation at your club is to send a confirmation email to the members here with this checkbox. Now, pricing-wise, here we have a court fee, it looks like, of $20.50. Now, you may be an organization that charges for courts or maybe not. And so it depends. So the charge is already set here. If at any point you are allowed or you need to override the price, then you would just simply enter it here and it would calculate it for that reservation. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Save Changes. And we have just made a singles reservation on court 2 for Fred and Wilma tomorrow from 10 to 11 o'clock. Now, let's say Fred calls back and he's decided that he wants to play a little bit longer with Wilma. Well, on the scheduler, it's very easy to do that. You can actually just hover over the little bar here in the middle of the scheduler, and you can actually drag this and make the reservation to the length of time that you need it to be. So we can actually make it bigger. We can make it smaller. If I get my cursor to go here, we can also drag and drop. So let's say that we have assigned this reservation for court 2, but actually we're going to do some maintenance on court 2 tomorrow. So we're going to need to move this over to court 3. So it's as easy as drag and drop. So you simply just hold down on this and you would drag it over to court 3. And now your reservation is on court 3 tomorrow. Now, I also want to point out a lot of great information about what's available here on this scheduler, okay? So, and the difference really is, you know, you've got your own organizational colors, they're customized, right? You may do certain reservations by color, and then you may do your events, your classes, your clinics, your summer camps by different colors. So really, this is all customizable. If you don't like your colors, go talk to your admins, okay? All right, so since we're on this scheduler here, I do want to go back and show you about the recurring reservation. Now, you may or may not be able to do this at your organization per the rules of your club, but I do want to show you what that looks like. So if we had a member or your player, you know, hey, I want to book the next 3 weeks, the same time every day. So you could actually come in here and we are going to go to weekly, okay? Because he said for the next 3 weeks, I want to come and play on Thursday from 10 to 11, okay? And, oh, I actually put 3 every week. Boy, that's a big no-no. So every week for the next 3 weeks, and we're going to end it on the December 2nd, okay? So we're going to make this recurring reservation. We're going to go ahead and assign a court if one was available, and then we would go ahead and save changes. So it works the same way on events, which if you need to know how to set up events, please join us in less than 2 hours for that webinar. Again, very, very easy. I won't save this just so we can keep our court thing clean here. Okay.
Let me add something. Hey, everybody. So recurring reservations, for those that are on the webinar, this is going to be a perfect thing to do for contract time. So, and I would also recommend that you have a reservation type called either seasonal or called contract time, so that you can see those in a different color or see those and it just not say singles or doubles. So I know Ashley in her demonstration purposes just left it singles or doubles, but best practice for court reserve and a recommendation I always like to give is for your recurring reservations, which is 99% of the time contract time, just make that a separate reservation type. Okay, that's all.
All right.
Thanks, Ashley.
Awesome. And really, you know, the reservation type, singles, doubles, contract time, we just had a new organization come on today up in Washington, D.C., and they're a large like community, and they have gazebos and party rooms and conferences and a boat and all kinds of things. So you can actually make those reservation types anything that you want to call them or anything that you need them to do. And it really in your reporting will show, okay, well, how many party rooms did I reserve? But you get my point where you can make them as many as you need to. Okay, so as far as from a front desk standpoint, if I needed to know information about a particular event going on, there is a lot of information that I want to make sure that all of you guys know about. So especially the audit log, probably once a day we get questions that the audit log, if you know where it is and how to use it, you can actually go in and see a lot of great information. So we're going to take this cardio tennis event right here. So an event in court reserve is any class, clinic, summer camp, anything you want a group of people to sign up for. We see that it is a cardio tennis clinic. This is the name of the clinic. It is from 1 to 2. There are 3 registrants signed up. There is a note here, bring extra balls. This is just a note. It's on the admin side currently, and we can show you later where to make that for both the admin and the member side as well. So the little icon that you see up here in the top left-hand corner, we call it the eye icon, gives additional information again, but I want to point out a couple things. So the dark blue button here is edit event. Now, we of course all the time are always trying to make court reserve better, user-wise and functionality-wise. And even this week, we've had a couple of people accidentally delete their events. So we're going to be making a change in the future that will basically give you a huge, you have registrants, don't delete this event. But for those of you who have recurring events, or you have classes and clinics that go on for 10, 12, 15 weeks, if you need to make a change to just one date of the event, that's where you go. You would come to this page, so you would click again, pay attention, eye icon, this little dark blue button here. This is going to edit just this date right here. So you're going to come in. If you need to add a court, take a court away. If you need to change the amount of registrants, you could do that here. If you need to change your instructors, this is where you would make changes to this event for just this day. Okay.
A quick tip here. Click that again, Ashley. I always like to tell people, if you're thinking about, am I making this change globally, or am I making this change for this date? Look at the title bar, as she just mentioned. And if you see a date, a specific date, you know, and can have a comfort level that you are only making that change for that specific date. And so if you needed to make more of a global change, then, and I'm sure she's going to get into this at the 4 o'clock webinar, that's where you would hit the yellow button in the bottom left and go to the actual event and make your global change that would impact all occurrences. So just a little tip there, just look for the date and you can have the comfort level that it's just that date.
Okay, good. So again, if we come back to the eye icon and we go to the lighter blue button, which is right next to it, you'll see the little people heads. This is where you can view the registrants already signed up for this event. You can export this list. You can run an attendance report. You can register new players. Now, this is important, especially for you front desk staff, because, you know, Dakota's mom's called in and Dakota wants to get signed up for this clinic. So you can actually click on that little light blue button, click on register. Now, there has been this incredible new feature added within the last couple months, and you can see it here, for all dates or for single date. So depending on if Dakota or your player wants to sign up for this event or multiple days within this event, depends on which one you choose. For today, we're just going to hit single date. So we're going to hit single date, and we can go in and just search for his name in the member directory. We simply click the green register button and save changes. And now this student is now entered into this clinic. You can also see where students have paid or your players have paid and where they have not paid for a clinic as well. You can also print a receipt from this page. So if Bailey wanted to see a receipt or have a receipt printed, you could simply click receipt and either print on a receipt printer or a standard printer. You could also check in. Check-in is another great feature that the front desk staff, the instructors, if you want to have the reporting in Court Reserve, I mean, we have a lot of reporting, but you have to do the things in order to be able to report on the great reporting. And the check-in is one of those, because this is great now for your attendance. We have a great event summary report, and also for contact tracing. So if you need to go back and look and see who was in a specific clinic or an event at a specific day, the check-in button is going to allow you to do that, because you'll actually know their human body was in the class. So check-in's easy. You click check-in. Are you sure you want to check him in? Yes, I do. You can do this on the mobile side as well with the simple toggle over check-in. Okay. So if we wanted to help Dakota pay for this particular clinic, this is another great front desk feature that you need to be aware of. You can just simply hit pay. Now, if he already has, you know, a payment profile set up, or if he's going to pay with cash or check, then you would simply come in here. You would simply, we're going to do cash today, because this is not a payment webinar. Click save, and yes, we're going to go ahead and accept payment for this particular event, and he's all paid up. You can go back and print him a receipt if you need it. You can also, from this view, email registrants. Now, if you need to email registrants, you're not only emailing one, you're emailing every person that is registered for this particular event. So, you know, oh, it's going to rain, or you bring an additional racket, whatever you need. You just simply click registrants, put your message in, send emails. Okay. Now, as far as a front desk standpoint, and depending on the permissions and restrictions that you have been given, you can also come in here if, for say, Andy Murray needs to reschedule. The reschedule button is this little clock looking button over here beside the X. So if I click reschedule, I can go in and I can actually reschedule him for an upcoming date or an event. If he needs to cancel out of this event, then that's what the giant X is. This would cancel his member registration, and we're going to remove him and send him an email basically saying you have been withdrawn from this event as well. Tim, any other things you want to say about this before I move on?
No, I mean, I think you did an excellent job of explaining that. I don't have anything at this time. I have a couple things I want to mention on the before you leave the actual front or the scheduler. So just let me know before you move over there, because I do want to mention while we're here before you go through. I did have a good question that come in, and we're going to answer most of the questions. But while we're here, I just want to entertain it. You really asked, can you disable drag and drop? We get that question a lot, and I'm glad she asked it. Because there's some people that just don't do drag and drop well, and they want to not allow it, and they want the user to have to actually click in on the time and change it for updates so things don't get accidentally moved. So the quick answer is yes. If you're an administrator and you just go into your settings, and for any particular user, there's an option that's going to allow you to, if you go to system users, not general, system users, and click on any of your sub-admins, there's going to be a checkbox at the bottom that's going to allow you to disable the drag and drop. So you really, if you have somebody that's getting in trouble with drag and drop and you want to take that ability away from them, that's where you do it at. So great question. The other one that I wanted to mention, so I don't forget it, is on the scheduler. You may be asking, what's the red bar? What's the blue bar? Ashley, was you going to cover this?
No, go ahead.
I don't want to steal your thunder. A lot of times people say, what's that blue bar for? That's just a depiction of an event. It's just an easier way to know that this is some event, and this people can sign up for this online. And the red bar is depictive of there's registrants or there's people on the court that has not paid up. There's also what she's hovering over on the bottom right is the dollar sign. That's also an extra little indicator to tell you that money is owed for this particular event. So if you click on that, it's just a shortcut back to what she was previously showing you. And there you can see the unpaid. Now, if I was to pay both of those off, you don't have to do that now. The red bar would go away and the dollar sign would go away. And then on the bottom left, where you see the exclamation point inside the triangle, is really a depictive icon to tell you that you have members or players not checked in. So if you was to go up to the top right over the singles with Fred and Wilma and click that and check both of them in, you're going to see that exclamation point is going to turn into a checkbox. So now you have a clear indicator that everybody is good and ready to go and out on the court. So I just wanted to mention those.
Now you're still on my thunder. All right, here we go. So back over to this icon. I think if you remember nothing else from today, front desk staff, admin, sub-admins, whoever's on the phone call, it is this magnifying glass right here. This is called the audit log. When I do the overview for our Tuesday and Thursday calls for the webinars, I mean, this is like a lie detector on the computer, okay? Because the things that happen to events that we have dictated, very, very important, will show up here. Now, the reason I say that is because every once in a while, we will create a new feature and forget to add it to the audit log. So we are constantly getting better at that. But mainly anything that happens when you create the event, if you update the event, if you cancel the event, when a registrant registers, when you change or override a price, anything you do, this is how you read the audit log. So you basically click the magnifying glass. You would come over here. This is the action type. This is the entity type, so the event date or what actually happened. But this is one of the most important things, action by. If you see Tim Owens, well, if you see Tim Owens, then we should talk about him getting paid to work at your facility. But Tim Owens here, A means admin, M means member. And then if the member created this action on their mobile device, it will show a little picture of a cell phone here as well. Now, if you have organizers at your club, O would be for organizer as well. It will show you the date that the action was created on, what that was, which is this event, and what the reservation date was that that event reflected. And then it'll give you a description of what the change was. This is super, super important because you can easily, like I said, there's a couple ways you can find the audit log. You can click on the eye icon and go to the audit log here, okay? You can actually come over here and go back to edit the event, and the audit log is here, okay? Or you can actually, if you go to that event, then there's another audit logs everywhere. So we just wanted to really point that out and let you know that audit log is super important because it really can help you define who's done what and anything else in the system as well. Now, another thing that you might want to be aware on an event is, you know, the little initials here. This just really tells you the instructors that have been assigned to this particular event. So again, just a screenshot, a snapshot of what that looks like is good for you. So what I want to do now, Tim, anything else on the scheduler before I move on? I want to show them a little bit about how to add a member to the system.
Real quickly, you can use the top global searches as a quick way to somebody calls you up and you need to answer a quick question about a member. You can actually search real quickly for a member name. You can also, this is also member number specific. And then if we had, I don't think we have phone numbers turned on there. In general settings, you can turn on the phone number tracking and you can actually look people up by the phone number as well. So that's a quick way to get to people's accounts. And then if somebody says, hey, I want to get into an event, this is the quick way to get into a particular event, to either see the number of spots, to register someone when you may not know the exact date that that event's been held. So just keep those two things in mind as you're sitting at the front desk as quick shortcuts to get to certain aspects of the system.
So I would assume too that some of your front desk staff does have the ability to do closures. And I just want to mention that quickly. Closures is located here up in this top corner. Closures is, as most of you guys know, we just made this change about a month ago, and it's really done a great job of helping you be able to quickly close your courts due to weather, maintenance, etc. We've got some great YouTube videos out there, so I'm not going to necessarily take you through how to do a closure because a lot of front desk staff may not have that ability, but it's pretty easy. Once you go in and you create your closures, whatever those look like, we even have a lot of organizations and clubs using this to block off their courts for USTA leagues and all kinds of things. So if we were just going to close this for weather and close it, you know, till tomorrow at 9 o'clock, then of course you have a lot of decisions to make about, you know, those affected registrations and events that actually pop up here. Oh, I better close this for a couple days because I don't have anything on the books tomorrow. Okay, so you actually, this is the most important thing about closures, friends, is this right here. You need to tell the system what you want it to be able to do, or it's not going to cancel anything as well. So if you need to learn more about closures, I would encourage you to go out and watch the YouTube videos. We take you through how to do that. And so when we go back over to the scheduler, and I'll just show you quickly, a couple of you have figured this out, but you can actually filter and then clear the filter. If you do not see your closures or you don't want to, these two check boxes up here in the top corner will hide your closures and also show you canceled reservations due to closures. You have the option of whether you'd like those checked or not on the scheduler. Okay. All right. Enough around the scheduler. Unless Tim gets a great idea, we'll come back to it. So what I want to do is actually go in and show you front desk staff how to add a new member to the system. Okay, so go ahead, Tim.
Before you do that, actually you do the add member here, and I'm going to show a quicker way to add a member when you're done.
Okay, so depending on what you have decided in the system, or your admins have decided in the system that they want to have on that new member create report, then it's pretty simple. Go in, you know, add first name, last name. We're going to add an email. Now know that in court reserve, you can't share emails. Most of you already know that. If you have a member number, phone number, this is pretty generic information. Now, as far as these ratings here, this would be very organization specific. So yours may look completely different. You may actually have different questions, different fields that you want to fill in, and then you get to choose the membership information. Now, a lot of times, you know, the memberships are just so unique. So you really need to talk to your admins, because if you're an organization that has several different memberships, you are going to need to know the differences and what those look like for your organization. And so you'll need to talk that through and about how they want them to be set up and who gets to choose what membership. Tim, did you want to jump in?
Yeah, so a lot of times though, you know, people may be just walking in. If you close this, so you may be walking in and you're on the scheduler and you don't want to leave the scheduler. So somebody walks up and they want to book a court at 10 a.m. So you may be a new front desk person that may not know every player. So you go in and you book singles, and then you type in, you know, some name. And so if you type the first name space last name, go ahead and fill out both first name and last name. The system's going to tell you that Roger Rabbit was not found. Now look at the green button there. So this is going to be the same screen she just showed you. If you click this, it's going to basically pre-fill your information. And now you simply can just go down on the bottom, fill it all out, and look what happens. Once I hit save changes, it keeps me on the actual reservation and puts Roger Rabbit onto the book, onto the court sheet. And now I haven't even left the reservation screen. I haven't went back to add member and then having to come back. So it's just a process or a workflow improvement. So it's just a little hidden Easter egg in there that we added based on some client feedback to make it easier for you to quickly add members with our players without having to leave the book or the court sheet. So anyway, I thought that would be a nice tip to share. Great.
That's a great idea for sure. So, and again, you know, depending on your membership and your members, I mean, that might be, you know, an easier way to do it for sure. That's why we keep Tim around, because he's the smartest one of the bunch. So, all right. So the next thing, Tim, what do you think we should move to next? We've gone over the scheduler. We've gone on adding a member as far as front desk goes.
I would definitely, you know, they talk about lessons. There's a couple of questions I'll entertain, but just show them quickly what the advantages of using the instructor scheduler might be.
So the instructor scheduler is a beautiful thing, especially for your instructors. And really, again, this empowers your instructors to put their schedule online. You can, if your instructors are in court reserve, you can assign them to particular events, classes, clinics you want them to teach. And then from a front desk standpoint, if you know you see Dakota and his mom coming in and they want to schedule a lesson with Coach Darren and they want to do it, you know, oh, got to turn those off. They want to go ahead and schedule those on the court, then you don't have to call Coach Darren. You don't have to email him, text him, wait for him to get off the court. You can simply come in here from a front desk standpoint, private lesson. It's going to be on December 3rd. And then we're going to put the member in here. So when Coach Darren looks at his phone and gets off the court, he's going to know that, well, Dakota, you know, he wants to have a lesson. And it's all done. The pricing's already set up because of course your admins have already set up, you know, lessons in the system as well. And once you put an instructor on the schedule, you know, then that private lesson's going to pop in as well. You can choose to send that confirmation email to the member, save changes. Now you've made your members or your players or your public, whoever's coming in and asking for private lessons, you've made your instructor happy because nobody bothered him while he was on the court. And again, your member's happy. That brings up another thing that I want to make sure and show the front desk staff here. If I'm on the scheduler, the way that I know that the instructor pricing comes up, because we get this in chat support sometimes. I'm actually going to go to a different day where it's a little less busy here. So let's go to Friday and it's court 1. And actually, let's just go out to the expanded scheduler here. The reason that I can know that my instructor pricing is popping up versus a court fee is going to be right here. So if I go in and I put private lesson on the board, okay, and I'm going to put in Fred. Fred pops up. We've got him on a court, but for some reason, the total is only $20.50. Well, that's a court fee, but this is a private lesson. Well, it will change to a private lesson fee when you add an instructor. Okay, so you can see here, the instructor price automatically changed. It's no longer a court fee. It's now a private lesson fee. So for you front desk staff, if you go in and you're able and you have the permission to set up private lessons and you're doing it from the scheduler, that's how you know that you've got the private lesson in, is when that instructor, when you add that instructor to that private lesson.
Yeah, and the reason we do that is because you can have multiple pros with different pricing. So that's why we don't show the pricing as soon as you click private lesson, because we don't know which pro is giving that lesson. So we don't know how to price that lesson until that pro or instructor is selected. So that's sort of why it does that. And so if you don't see the right price for that pro, just check back with your admin, because they either don't have the pricing set or they have a custom cost that they may need to set up differently. So if you see anything there that looks incorrect to you, just check with your administrative team and they can correct that.
Yes, definitely, or reach out to us for sure. All right, so I'm looking at a couple questions, and just because they bring up a good point. So some of you may only see expanded or instructors, but tennis here, swim, gym, pickleball, these are all called custom schedulers. Custom schedulers allow you as the admin to it's really for you to go to exactly what you want to look, or it defines the courts for you. It also does this on the member side as well. It really directs them to schedule exactly what you want them to schedule. So for instance, we've got tennis here. Well, this just shows the tennis courts, okay? If we go to pickleball here, this just shows our pickleball courts. Well, this also does the same thing on the member side, and I'll show you quickly what that looks like. So if you come over here and click book a court, now again, this is from the member standpoint, this really directs your members to what you want them to be able to book. So I saw there was a question about custom schedulers. This is one of my favorite features in Court Reserve, because it really does allow you to define exactly what you want your members or players to book. You can do it for specific times, days of the week. I mean, it's a great feature in Court Reserve. So again, on the admin side, from that front desk standpoint, if you have several different types of spaces or courts, and this is a lot because you're constantly scrolling back and forth, custom schedulers is a great thing to build, and it's super easy. And of course, we have a great video out there by yours truly that put it together. So don't forget about that as well.
A disclaimer here. A lot of you on this call or webinar may be sub-administrators, and you're asking yourself, wow, that's pretty cool. I'd love to use it. You cannot create these custom schedulers yourself. So you have to be an administrator. So if you like what you see and your organization is not using custom schedulers, and you think it would be, even if, and the great thing is you can show these on the admin side, but then not show them on the member side, or vice versa. So if you like what Ashley is demonstrating here and you think it would be a good idea for your club or organization to implement it, just talk to your administrative team or check out the video and say, hey, or send it to them, because they can set this up for you and make your life a lot easier with these custom schedulers.
Yes, for sure. Another feature that a lot of our organizations use, especially those who are answering the phone, would be this consolidated view right here. So if I click on consolidated, what this does is it takes your spaces or your same type of court or spaces, and it gives you that bird's eye view of your availability. So if you have a front desk who's answering the phone and I call in and I want to know if you have any pickleball courts available at 1 o'clock, well, there's 2 available, and it makes it super easy for your admin to go directly there instead of having to go to your expanded scheduler and then go over here and actually find the, court and stuff. That consolidated view is great. If you're booking ball machines at your organization or any resources, again, it's the same thing as the scheduler for your front desk staff to go in to reserve, put your member on there, your fees will pop up, and things of that as good. So with it being 20 minutes till, I really think we've gone through a lot. I think that with some of the questions that we have, Tim, it'll be good to go through those. So do you want to read those or do you want me to read them?
Yeah, absolutely. Go through some of these. So another question came in. How far back does the audit log keep information for events or for reservations? There is no limit right now. So if you're on a particular, now the one thing that we may have not shown, unless I missed it, we showed everything from the audit log perspective at the particular event or reservation. So if as Ashley was on the scheduler, you saw her pick the audit log from a particular event or reservation. There's also an option on the far left on all the way down called audit log. Now this is a more organizational type log that shows you everything going on. And it's not specific to a particular reservation or event. And you can actually go back in time and track down things and you can see everything done for today, by a member, by a sub admin, by a particular admin. And so this is just another way. Now you may not have permission to this, but if you're a super like front desk person and they've given you more access than others, this is a way for you to be able to track audits throughout the day or throughout the week. And you can go as far back as you need to. So great question. You really.
Yep.
Anything to add there, Ashley?
No, but I was just going to say that brings up, I think we should definitely just kind of highlight what the point of sale looks like and how easy it is, especially if you have new front desk staff that's going to be.
We probably can do a whole webinar on this.
That's probably a great idea. I think we're going to vote on doing an entire webinar on point of sale. So we'll leave that for now and we'll let you guys know when we do it. But again, super easy to do, but if your organization doesn't use it, then we definitely don't want to do that. So let's go through some of the questions here.
Lauren asked, will the instructor get an email notification if the front desk sets up a private lesson for the pro through the instructor scheduler? Yes, automatically. We do want to eventually, just like we have it on the expanded scheduler, we want to give you the option. And I thought we added it. Notice if I go here and go to private lesson, and I pick an instructor, okay, and I pick a member, I'm going to get multiple. I'm going to get a box for the member and then a box for the instructor. So, and they're both going to be defaulted to be true. Now I know it's a little, I don't want to say awkward, but it is. The member one is way down here, and that's because we show the members here. We're going to be revamping this whole thing when we do split billing. Yay, split billing is coming, y'all, I promise. So this whole thing, all this member becomes a grid, and this is going to change a little bit. But yeah, here is your send confirmation to member. There's the instructor, so you can pick and choose. But on the instructor, Lauren, it automatically is adding the email to the instructor. And right now, unless we changed it, you can't not send it. So if you click private lesson up there, you see that we already have the instructor, selected here, and there's no option to unselect the confirmation, but rest assured it does send it. The only caveat is that you can't unselect it. So they're going to get an email every time you schedule them from this scheduler.
That's
okay?
Good.
Good question.
Let's see. Lori asked, how do you reduce the size of the reservation so it doesn't take up the entire reservation space on the schedule?
Oh, that's a good one. So you see how yours is set up so you can double click. You need to show where to set that up at. Do you remember where to go to do that?
So let's go over to settings. Go to general and we scroll down.
There it is. There's where the magic happens, folks. Allow multiple reservations on the same scheduler slot. So if you choose that, then go back, and she has. And now if you go back to the scheduler, I'm so glad you asked this question. Now this is the workaround on how you can get multiple, like, let's say you're doing a lesson, right? And you want to give somebody, you want to put two members. Well, right now with Court Reserve not having split billing, you can't put two people in the same lesson on the same reservation and charge. So now she can double click right here in the white space. And now she can add Wilma, and she can override, and she can put the same instructor. And instead of charging the full price, she can override that and say, I'm going to charge Wilma 45 or 50. And now she saves that. And that's going to split the private lesson up. So I am so glad you asked that question, because that is the court reserve workaround for split billing at the moment.
Yep. So everybody get excited. Yay.
Yeah. So this is all going to go away. That workaround will not have to be done. And, we are actively working on that feature and still hope to have it out by the end of the year. But yeah, that's how you do it. And again, there is no reserve button. Obviously it's hidden. So again, Ashley, all she did was she just hovered in that white space and did a double click. So anywhere you have white space now, you can just double click and it will pop up the reservation, and you can just keep putting reservations in that same slot.
All right. So again, we've already kind of shown you how to add people into the system that are not necessarily in court reserve. Do you want to say anything about guest, Tim?
I know Monica asked, and I know you covered this early on, and on how to add guests. I don't want to cover that again. Monica, you can just watch the first bit of that, or get maybe Chris to show you. But just know right now, the two biggest thing about guests is that they can't be charged separately and they can't be checked in separately. So we're going to be adding both of those features as part of that split billing. But if somebody, if you go in and try to check in a guest, you're going to notice that there's no check-in button. And so don't let that confuse you. That is something that we're working on to get done. So there was another question in here, though, that another one from Chris and his gang, asking about packages. So I know that a lot of you front desk people may be asking, hey, our organization likes to charge, X number of dollars and they get 15 clinics. And we understand that that's a normal business practice for a lot of you guys. And so we are going to be working on a feature very soon for packages and being able to credit and being able to consume those package credits across the system. So just be on the lookout. So the short answer, Chris, to your question is right now, we don't have a real optimal way to do that at this point, unless you just do it manually. But to everybody on the call, that is something that we plan on, prioritizing and getting done fairly quickly.
So Lauren had another question. Can the pro be emailed when someone signs up or enrolls for their event?
Can the pro be emailed when yes. So that's a great question. So if it's not happening, we need to probably know it. Yeah. So if that pro, like in her pickleball clinic right now, you see where the pickleball clinic is in red in the middle of the screen, or the one she's on right now. Since these two pros are on this clinic, they automatically and only them get an email when somebody registers. Right now, we currently don't send event registrants to any administrators, has been requested, but right now, because that was sending so many emails, right now we only send that email to those pros assigned. So yes, the answer is yes, it's going to happen automatically, but they have to be assigned to the event for that date. Okay. Let me go back. Did I answer the question about reducing the size?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Yep, we did. So Angela asked, how about credits and gift certificates from a front desk standpoint?
So right now, if you want to handle a gift certificate, we don't have a way to, we have a way you can just say, I took a gift certificate, but it's not going to do anything with a gift card or anything like that. But what a lot of people or a lot of organizations are doing, and this is again permission level stuff, is adjusting a family balance if they come in and prepay. But so that's sort of what you have to do. I don't want to get into that particular feature here, because most of the time that is done in the back office and not on the front desk side. But for a gift card, if you just click, actually, if you go in one of these pickleball clinics and just click the $ to pay something, yeah, and then click pay on one of the unpaids. So to take a gift card, you would just take the payment type and just mark it gift card, gift certificate. Now, the only thing about it is we don't know how much is redeemable on that card or that certificate. So you would have to keep up with that manually or mark off and put it, or however on that certificate, what they have left. But you can at least attribute the payment type to be a gift card by just selecting that payment type.
That's a good question. So any other questions around front desk today? Now, for those of some of you got on late, we are having an all about events webinar in about an hour at 4 o'clock Eastern time. So please know that you can sign up for that. And then if you've missed any of this, or if you want to go back and you have additional questions that come up later around front desk or your front desk staff, please reach out to us. And know that, we're going to try and do these, every month. It might be hard next month with the holidays, we'll see, but for sure, if you have staff, that needs training on this, we'll do our best to get them trained up. So any other questions?
And the reason, let me add before we close, the reason that we want to continue to do these monthly is because we want to continue to make Court Reserve better monthly. And if we just do one and then stick it out on YouTube, then that YouTube video could be quickly out of date based on the speed that our amazing development team pushes out features. So just because you come to one front desk training in 1 month, you may want to get if we offer one again, 2 or 3 months down the road, it may be a good idea, even if you don't come live, just to check out the video, because there could be some new features in there that we cover that we didn't cover in the one that you were in maybe a couple months prior. So just keep that in mind to don't think it's the same material. We're going to try to space it out enough so that we can talk about some new things that we've added since we did the previous webinar.
Oh, and Lauren had a final question. What's the best way to switch a player to another event? And that would be, a couple ways. You could go in and cancel that player out of the event and then just re-register them to the event. Wouldn't you say that, Tim?
Yes, that, or just use that reschedule functionality that you showed quickly. At the start.
So that would be up here, Lauren, and that would be the little clock feature here. And then you could just go and reschedule them to something else that they wanted to be rescheduled for.
Yes. And, and I'm sure you're at 4 o'clock, she may show this a little more and how you can reschedule out of one program to another, and it prorates and all of that good stuff. So, if you have more questions about events and how that works, please, make some time and try to come to the one that we're having in just a little over an hour.
Yeah. Well, thanks everybody. Hope to see you soon. Have a great evening and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
See you guys.